Cool. All right, Mina, welcome to the podcast. How you going?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you
Very
for
good.
inviting me.
Oh, no problem. What does a Monday look like for you, just in general interest?
Uh, well, every second day, this is my day off, and then I work the other Monday. So I
Okay.
rotate between Mondays and Saturdays.
Cool. So what does a day off look like? Do you obviously get to the gym, you do some grocery shopping, or do you just
I
spend
actually
some you
have
time?
been doing a rest day on my days off just
Oh,
to
okay.
get other things done. So yeah, the Monday that I'm not well, actually most Mondays because it's check-in day as well with you.
Yes.
So there's a lot involved. Yeah, I know I do the grocery shopping and stuff on the weekends.
Okay.
It's literally, I don't know, go for walks, catch up on appointments, rest,
Yep.
try not to do too much.
Fair enough too. Good idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the point of me asking you to come on, obviously you've been a client of mine for 4 years, as you just pointed out before. Um, was to talk about your story because it's a fantastic one from where you started to where you are
Yeah.
now. You're obviously currently prepping for a show in season B, which you probably back 4 years ago never thought in your wildest dreams you would ever even consider, let alone do. So I thought this was a great opportunity to share your story and hopefully inspire some people who listen and go, well, you know what, if Mina can do it, so can I. So
Yeah.
take me back to before obviously your weight loss journey, talk about your general lifestyle, your relationship with food, exercise, what it looked like.
Yeah. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but the weight and the food thing has been like a lifelong problem.
Yep.
It's not a problem anymore because obviously through working with you in the last 4 years, I've kind of learned all the healthy habits and I know the weight really matters.
Mm.
Yes, ever since being a baby, I don't know. Look, it took forever to lose my baby fat. I was always the chubby kid. I was always the one that was told to stop eating. My two brothers were pretty fit and healthy and sporty, and I was always the kid that yeah, just loved food. Still do.
Yeah, of
Nothing's
course.
changed there. Yeah, but going into teenagers, obviously the weight started creeping on. The education wasn't there back then.
Mm.
So basically, as you know, food was the enemy. Food was bad, carbs were bad, don't eat this, don't eat that. And the more I was withholding, like eating properly and doing normal things, the more I was gaining weight, obviously. Fast forward to pregnancy, gained a whole heap of weight once I got pregnant.
Mm.
And then that just became like a mental battle. I couldn't lose it. I tried everything there is to do. I was thinking this morning, like I did Weight Watchers, I did Jenny Craig, I think it was called. I
Yeah.
did Atkins diet. I did all the shakes, all the
Wow.
slimming, whatever there was. Like you name it, I paid for it and I did it. Lose weight for a little bit and then put like double the amount back on.
Can I
Anyway,
ask
had
this
my
quickly? Can I ask this quickly with the pregnancy? I know a lot of mums, and I only speak from those that I've known that have been pregnant, they'll sort of take the mentality, oh, I'm going to put weight on anyway, so I'll relax in terms of food. Was that sort of your approach as
um
well? Not so much.
yeah, like I was eating a lot, but then I
Yep.
was never full. So I think
Okay.
my stomach had stretched so much that I was never full. My other problem was I couldn't taste food with pregnancy. So
Wow.
I was
Okay.
adding salt to everything. Like I remember
Mm.
my mum saying to me, stop putting salt on your food. Like it's salty enough. And I just like literally could not taste, lost my taste. I didn't have morning sickness or anything like that. So
Right.
I just kept eating because I couldn't taste the food. There was no satisfaction. So
Wow.
and yeah, with pregnancy, you already put weight on anyway. So I just didn't care. It was like, yeah, it was just one of those phases of life. And then afterwards, being a nurse, going back to work, doing shift work, baby waking up, I was just like using food to get by, like to
Yep.
keep awake and go to work and basically just get through life. And I put on a lot of weight. I think I put on like 30 kilos all up,
Wow.
which I couldn't lose on top of what was already a high weight for me.
Mm.
Yeah, so obviously the mental battles of constantly gaining weight and trying everything that I knew to try and not losing any. Always had a gym membership, or always used to go to the gym, but I used to walk on the treadmill and come out because I didn't know what else to do.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't actually ever remember not having a gym membership, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
So it was like a charity thing. I used to pay and not go. Or like literally, I was the person that used to sit in the car park and then come up with excuses of why I shouldn't go inside.
Wow.
I was embarrassed. I was self-conscious about how I looked. There were so many things. Or I used to just lie and say, "Oh, I've had such a good workout. I'll go home." Like it was all a mental game.
Yep.
Yeah, not the strongest mental point of my life. And then fast forward to when my son was obviously a toddler, running around. It was a struggle keeping up with him. I was always tired.
Mhm.
And then I started my background nursing wise, I was always in the operating rooms. I went from pediatric operating rooms to adults and worked with a bariatric surgeon. And then I was chatting to him and I saw um, basically a lot of patients coming through having bariatric surgery on a weekly basis. And I said to him, I want to do this, but because I like mentally could not think of any other way of losing weight.
Sure.
And I just needed help. Like that was my lowest point. Yeah, I said to him, I want to do this, but I don't want anyone to know because I'm embarrassed about it. Because this is now going back to 2013, so it's a long time ago. It was there what the even amongst nurses and doctors, bariatric surgery was shamed. It wasn't, it was the easy way out, even though once you go through it, it's not the easy way out. And like the way I saw it was if I had a bad back or if I needed knee surgery, I wouldn't withhold that and I'll just go and do it. So I needed help, like mentally, could not think of any other way of getting through life. So I went ahead and he actually went to another hospital and did my surgery for me, which was really nice. So that I wasn't in my workplace doing
Okay.
it. And I appreciate that from him forever because now I can share my story, but back then I just didn't want anyone to know. Only my family knew and a handful of friends that I obviously hung out with who were very supportive. I did that and I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 40 something kilos, but my lifestyle and my habits didn't change. I was still so unhappy about a lot of things in my life. I was drinking a lot. Alcohol was like drinking a bottle of wine a night was not an issue. And I'll be fine the next day. But because I couldn't eat much, I was just drinking. So I was drinking wine, eating chocolate, like that was it. And I was like, oh, yay, I'm losing weight. This is great. Yeah, 2, 3 years later, it caught up with me because little their stomach stretches back out again.
Does.
And just picking at food because I couldn't eat big volumes of food. I was just eating little bits more often over time. And then all the calories I was getting from basically the bad food, which was chocolate and alcohol and all sorts of things, it just caught up with me. And I put more than half of what I lost back on.
Yeah, wow.
So I think I lost about 40 something kilos. Then I put on about 27, 28 kilos.
Wow.
And then that hit me. That hit me. And I was like, what have you done? Like, you can't go back into that life again. That's not okay. And I think it was a couple of years after that that I kind of came across your page and then I had a look through your things. And yeah, I was like, I need to change what I'm doing. Like, whatever I'm doing. I used to do CrossFit. I was getting injured. I'll pull out of CrossFit and just like not exercise for a while because of injuries.
Yep.
Yeah, met you, changed my life.
Well, I appreciate
That
that.
was, I would honestly, I mean it. Like, I feel like it's saved me because it's been hard. It's been a journey. Like, I think when I met you, I was barely eating food. Like, I don't even remember what I was eating,
Yep.
or how much I was eating, but it's taken us 4 years for me to like comfortably say I can eat whatever I want as long as I'm obviously tracking and doing the right things. I'm not scared of eating food anymore, which has been amazing. And at my oldest age, I'm at my best shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, like you said, 4 years ago when I joined with you, one of the first things I said is I'm never ever setting foot on a stage. I just want to do this for lifestyle. I just want to look good.
Yep.
And yeah, look at us go now.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
so that was a quick yet
so
long way of,
you're right.
yeah, go on.
Okay, I was just going to ask, take me back to, because you mentioned obviously you're a nurse and
Yeah.
the nursing environment. I've got a lot of nursing clients. A lot of them do shift work, night work. It's very, I don't want to say unhealthy, but it kind of is in terms of the lifestyle. Because as you mentioned, you just basically battle to survive in regards to lack of sleep. They're always putting out obviously sugary food because that's sort of the
Yeah.
idea of getting you through is feed you with
Yeah.
sugar, that sort of things. So, we need nurses, obviously. Health system, we have to have them. But how did you find that in relation to trying to manage your weight and the expectation around eating the sugary food, the lack of sleep or the inconsistent sleep? Was that a real battle?
Is this before when I had the baby
Yeah,
or
yeah.
before
Or
I had,
even
yeah.
up until you changed careers more recently.
Yeah, honestly, it's always a battle. It still is a battle because
Okay.
any workplace, I don't even think it's just hospitals. The way people treat themselves is to put a morning tea and a lunch on.
Mm.
It's not a battle anymore for me. Like my mental game has changed so much that sorry, put my phone on silent.
You're right.
It's changed so much that it doesn't bother me at all.
Mm.
Being around that kind of food now, like I don't even get tempted. But back then it was just the norm. Like you ate chocolate and sugar or toast or whatever it was to get through. Like especially in the operating room, sometimes we used to start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You were on call and you're still there 3 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
doing
wow.
cases. So like you've got to stay awake.
Yep.
Um, and there is no other way of staying awake other than eating sometimes because you've already done like 12, 14 hours of work. So back then, before I met you and before I started tracking food, I used to just eat whatever.
Sure.
Even just going through McDonald's drive-through, 24-hour McDonald's drive-through on the way home just to make it home,
Yeah, wow.
was like, and that's how it creeped on because you were tired, hungry. When I had my son and I went back to work after maternity leave, I knew that, like I say, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. His wake up time was 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And his dad used to go to work at 6 a.m. So like I knew I only had an hour. So food was the way of survival, but
Yeah.
not good. Like obviously you're not going to go home and eat an apple.
Mm.
It had to be something to keep me awake
Yeah.
and yeah, have that satisfaction kind of point. But yeah, it's still there. Nurses, doesn't matter.
Mm.
I think it's any workplace,
I
office
think you're right.
places, cakes and chocolate, pizza,
Yep.
whatever is like a way. It's like a cultural thing. People just do
Sure.
it.
So when you mentioned you had your surgery and then over a period of time you put 27 kilos back on, what was the defining moment where you said enough was enough? Was there a point where you looked at yourself in the mirror where you, as you mentioned, you couldn't keep up with your son, you couldn't exercise properly? What was there one moment or was it a culmination of a few where you went, right, that's it, I've got to do something?
It was yeah, it was, I think it was photos. Like we went to a wedding, I think, and it was photos, and I was just looking at myself going, wow, I'm like literally going back to that point again.
Mm.
And it was clothes, like I couldn't fit into my clothes again. And I
Yep.
was buying bigger sizes. And like I've never been really bothered with what size clothing I buy, to be honest.
Sure.
Even now at my smallest weight, I still buy a range of sizes depending on where I shop from. But it was the fact that I couldn't fit anything in my wardrobe and I was like creeping back into buying more clothes but
Mm.
in bigger sizes. And it really hit me. And I was like, I can't do that again. Like I can't go back. I wasn't obviously going to have another surgery again to fix the problem that I've kind of messed up.
Yep.
So yeah, it was that. It was more that I couldn't fit into clothes and I saw photos and I was like, wow, what happened?
Yeah, wow. Can I ask you, do you regret the surgery?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It helped me so much. And the surgery that I had, obviously, I know all of them. I know all the bariatric surgeries. The one that I had didn't change my anatomy. So I had the gastric sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they just make your stomach smaller. So
Yep.
my anatomy hasn't changed. My gastric system hasn't changed. Like everything, the way I digest food, everything is exactly the same. I just couldn't eat big volumes of food.
Okay.
So I didn't have to eat different food. Like nothing really changed apart from volume, which was
Mm-hmm.
what I needed because I was never full.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to eat so much food and still be hungry.
Wow.
But the portion of the stomach that's removed through gastric sleeve is basically the portion that releases the hormones that make you hungry.
Yep.
And that helped with not feeling hungry, eating small volumes. But then, of course, your stomach muscle stretches
Yep.
with eating. So it kind of, you have to be careful with it. Like, and that's the thing. a lot of people that have the gastric sleeve, once they fail, well, the sleeve doesn't fail. Once you don't utilize it properly as a tool to change your lifestyle, there is another surgery that they go and have, which is changing the gastric system, which is called bypass
Okay.
surgery.
So is there a gap there in that process where more education is needed post-surgery or even beforehand, just to inform the individual who's getting the surgery how to go about
They
their...
tell you. They
They
tell
do?
you
Okay.
everything. Like the surgeon that did my surgery, he's amazing. I've worked with him for 10 years.
Okay.
And he tells all his patients, he's got a service that, has everything. They've got psychologists, nutritionists. His rooms are just equipped for bariatric surgery. And he told me, he said, he actually said, don't fuck this up. um, he said there will be a time your stomach will stretch and you
Yeah.
will want to eat more, but don't fuck it up. Like he said, don't. Like he was quite clear with me. And I
Sure.
think that was also like, I was like, I can't go back to him and say I need help again. Like
Yeah.
he's already told me don't fuck it up, so I
Yeah.
can't go back.
Okay. So fast forward now, what would you tell your former self in terms of where you are now compared to where you were back then? Like, what would be some of the advice you'd give your former self?
I think if the education that I've got now around food, weight loss, body, everything, if I had it back then, I probably would have made better choices.
Mm.
Um, what would I say to my former self? I wrote some notes. That honestly, a lot of my other problem was constantly searching for that happiness. Like I wasn't happy
Yeah.
with
Okay.
the choices I was making and my life, and I
Yep.
kept blaming everything and everyone else, and I used to go towards food for comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So that happiness is my choice. Like, whether I'm happy or not, it's not anyone else's business to make me happy. Food isn't bad. Like, don't treat food as the enemy or the bad subject there. And it's how you eat it. And I say that to everyone now. Like, even bless them, love them to bits, my parents still think rice is bad for you. I'm like, it's not bad for you. It's like the way you're eating it is bad. It's not. So yeah, I think if I had the education that I've got now back then, things would have been a lot different.
Do you think, hindsight's a great thing, do you think you would have gone with the surgery if you had the knowledge you have now?
Probably not.
Okay.
At the time, I felt like my mental health was so bad that I felt like I had no choice
Okay.
and I needed help. And that's all I knew was it wasn't a quick fix. It was not easy. I tell you that. It was one of the hardest things I did to go out with a group of people that love eating and everything's around food and you cannot physically eat.
Yeah.
And you don't want to tell people. Like you cannot put food in your mouth and eat it. Like more than one tablespoon at a time. And you don't want to tell people what you've done. So, that side of it is really hard. Like I don't care now, I tell everyone everything.
Sure.
But back then being younger, I was 10 years younger, you kind of like live your life for other people, which is
Mhm.
another thing I would change. And I tell all the young people around me now is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people think.
Yep. Absolutely. Very good advice. So talk to me about your current routine, because you obviously are very much a numbers person. You've
Am
mentioned
I
that
just?
several times.
I
Um,
get so much satisfaction out of ticking boxes and data
which is a good
numbers.
thing, right?
I know.
So
It
what's your
works.
routine, your weekly routine like? Like obviously you go to the gym multiple times a week. Do you food prep in
Yeah.
advance? How do you sort of operate? Because obviously you're still a nurse, but you're a cosmetic nurse now. Is that right?
Yeah. So I still work at the operating rooms casually. I
Okay.
try and do 1 or 2 shifts a month just because I do love that job. And
Sure.
but yeah, I trained into cosmetic nursing and just yeah, that's different life. I don't have shift work anymore. Um, which is great. I go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is awesome. That happens every day.
So what time do you wake up?
Um, I wake up at 4:15, and honestly, my body clock is 4:15. Whether I've got a day off or not, I am awake and up before my alarm even goes off.
Yep.
So yeah, we go to the gym at 5, come home, have breakfast, do the day, go to work. After work, I usually go for a walk. And then it's school, it's football drop off. I'm basically a chauffeur in the evenings until bedtime. My days are like, I remember one of your podcasts, you said put everything you do in your calendar. And if you've got gaps in your calendar, that's when you've got time to do things.
Yep.
And I did that and I've got no gaps. Like the only gaps I've got in my calendar is when I'm driving,
Sure.
which I can't really do much. So which
We
is
listen
when
to
I listen to
podcasts.
podcasts. Yeah, I do. So yeah, routine is that unless I've got a rest day. And if I've got a rest day, it's just catch up with friends and
Sure.
but yeah, I've always done the gym thing at the same time, depending on what phase of life I was in. So
Mm.
if I only had time to go after work, then that was like I did that every single day.
Okay.
Now it's before work because I finish work late, and then by the time I get home 5:30 in the evening, it's not gym time for me. So I go in the mornings. When I did shift work, I used to always do gym before work. So I made that a thing when I was doing night shifts, afternoon shifts. It was go to the gym, get ready, and go to work. So I've always stuck to the same routine depending on what life throws at me.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And that's obviously served you really well for a lengthy period
Yeah.
of time now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. So what advice would you give someone who, like, there's plenty of people out there that struggle like you did several years ago.
Yeah.
What advice, based on what you know now, what advice would you give someone who is lacking in confidence, obviously wants to lose some weight, don't know where to start? Maybe they've tried multiple things like you did in terms of diets and stuff like that and aren't getting the results. What's some advice based on the fact that you've walked the walk? You've tried multiple things, now you've had sustained success. What would be some generalized advice that you could give someone to sort of get them into a good space and starting well?
The first thing I say to people is like, look at how many years it's taken to put that weight on.
Mm.
Don't expect to lose it in an 8-week challenge
Yep.
and stay off. So you cannot lose the weight in that long. It's got to be a lifestyle or you won't stick to it. Do the work and just don't stop. Like make those little habits. Atomic Habit was an amazing book that I read,
Mm.
that habit stacking, and just do the little things that kind of make it easier in the long run. Just trust the process. Get yourself a coach that knows what they're doing. Or even like if you do one part of it, like if you don't like training, do the nutrition for a while. If just concentrate on food and sleep and walking, like don't try and like achieve a lot. It's taken me 4 years to honestly for my body to just respond, as you know,
Mm.
respond to what we're doing. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not frustrating anymore. Don't concentrate on the scale weight. All of those little things will make you confident. The physical changes are a bonus, but you've got to work on the healthy habits and your mental health first. The
Yep.
physical changes just come with it, which is nice to look at. But yeah, it's the mental growth that you've got to work on first, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. So where you're at right now, in terms of lifestyle, knowledge, eating, training, etc., would I be right in saying that you can now sustain this for the rest of your life without
Yeah, I think
anything?
so.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Even over Christmas, New Year's, I went to New Zealand to see my family, and
Yep.
I told you I can't track food over there because I've got to eat what my family eat, or they all get offended.
Right.
So, but I didn't go stupid. Like I just ate the same food. I just like didn't go and overdo it.
Mm.
So it was actually quite nice to be relaxed, and I knew like I can look at food now. I play this game sometimes with my son. I'm like, that banana's 100 grams. And he's like, no, it's not. And he puts it on the scales and it's 100 grams. Like I've been tracking food, even though I was a lifestyle client with you for like the 3 years of the 4 years.
Yeah.
I track my food every single day. I meal prepped every single week, which saves so much time. I cook once a week and that's it.
Mm.
Like it's amazing. And I know exactly what I'm eating. So yeah, I can definitely keep going. Whether I do more comps or not, I don't know. But
Mm.
let's get through the first one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
definitely the habits will never change because I actually hate not having that routine.
Yep.
When my routine is thrown, when I can't go to the gym, it throws my whole day. I actually feel ill.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
I need
Okay.
to do my walks, I need to do the gym, I need to eat the food. I
Mm.
can't cope without it.
There you go. Okay. So obviously, what's this year? 24. In 2020, 22. You did a transformation. 23.
23, Paul.
Oh my God, my
My
mind,
God,
my
it's
memory.
signs of aging,
I
doll.
know. Oh, don't worry, my kids remind me every single day. Um,
It was only September last year.
I was too. Oh dear me.
Hasn't been
So
that long.
September last year, you decided, well, months before, you decided to do the transformation show, or one of, which is obviously a great concept in itself, because it allows people to obviously show their hard work, their transformation, whether it's mental, physical, etc. You're not necessarily doing bodybuilding. It's just, this is what I've achieved through years or months of dedication.
Yeah.
Talk me through that experience. Was it nervous to commit to? Was it everything you expected? And obviously that was one of the key, I guess, attributes of getting through that, which then allowed you to make the decision to move further and do a bikini show coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the decision to do transformation was, as you know, like my personal life, I went through a lot of changes and things have happened in the last 3 years. Job change happened. So I got through like 2 years, I think, just working and just I literally used to just show up to the gym, whether I did a full training or not. I didn't even care. I used to just go for routine and
Yep.
do whatever I could. So everything plateaued for, I think, that those 24 months, everything plateaued a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, once everything settled and I, like, I was doing one job full time and then dropped the other one to casual, my life was kind of getting settled. You suggested, why not do transformation, even though I had told you so many times that I would not go on stage. You said, look, let's focus on you this year and do transformation and see how you feel, because that gives you something to focus on. And I thought, oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like, I've always done things for others, and this could be my thing to do. Yeah, I loved it. I thrived off that discipline that I had to put in. I thought I'd turn into a bitch with lack of food, but I did not. It was amazing. I really thought I'd struggle. And my biggest struggle was actually going on stage and posing. And mentally did not think I'll do it. I used to message, bless Kelly, she's like my little person there that just listens to me vent. I used to message her constantly and say, I can't do this. Like, I cannot go on stage. Mentally could not see myself on stage.
Yep.
Anyway, we did it. We did it. We got there. I went on stage and I freaking loved it. I loved the whole experience of that day. Like, it was amazing talking to people backstage, just seeing how all these women that were doing the transformation show had used exercise and training and what they were doing to overcome something major that had happened in their lives, whether it was illness, cancer, DV, I don't know, something. And everyone was sort of like they'd gone through a trauma through this experience of transforming themselves and focusing on themselves. I loved it. I always thought these shows backstage is toxic. I don't know why. Probably because I had met people that were a bit like that in this game, in this sport. So yeah, I loved the whole day. And once it finished and the next day I was like, what now? Like, it was that kind of moment of, so what am I doing now? And I just got up and went to the gym and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing now? Like, what's the goal now?
Mm.
And that's when I decided I need to do the proper comp. Because as strict as I was with transformation, there was still not as strict as it is now.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I love the day, and I feel like I finally found a sport where you can work your ass off, but on the day of competing, you actually get to sort of enjoy it and look amazing. So
Absolutely. Yeah, like you're right. Like backstage, obviously, it does have a bad stigma about it, unfortunately, but that will change over time. But yeah, everyone's encouraging and excited, and there's great energy, and you guys have fun, and yeah, it's just a wonderful experience, really. And now, obviously, we get to do it again, slightly higher echelon, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty cool goal to have. So, obviously, you're excited for that.
Amazing.
Do you have any expectation, or are you just trying to remove the pressure from yourself altogether and just go with the flow? As you said, trust the process, and all those cliched sort of terms that we use.
What do you mean by expectations?
What do I mean by firstly, making it for starters, and secondly, doing well, or is the the goal for you simply getting on stage and sharing your
No,
stories again?
I don't just do things half-ass. Like I am going to aim high. Like you said, first point will be actually making it to stage, because you said to me, you were quite honest. You said if you're not stage ready, you're not going to go on stage. So do the work, and if you're stage ready, you'll go on stage.
Correct.
No, I'm aiming high. I don't care. Like I don't want to just go on stage. I want to place, and if I don't, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I know that I've worked towards that. And I've given it everything I've got. It's not just me going wearing a bikini, which is actually still a mental struggle for me to do that and go on stage. We'll get there.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I want to see how well I can do.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. You know, your journey over, well, such a long period of time. Like, if we take you back to, you know, when you first discussed things at the start of this podcast till now, they're two different people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And what would be, like, I know numbers aren't the biggest of things here, but what would be the, like, from the highest, well, the lowest point, but the heaviest you were, to where you are now? What's the, you know, just so people can sort
So
of.
I'm almost back at the weight I was for transformation. Now, which is pretty damn good. And I think transformation, they said 67 kilos I've lost overall.
Wow.
Which is since 2013, so that's 11 years.
That's like a
Which
whole person.
yeah, it's insane. Like even when I did the transformation story and I wrote everything out, submitted it, did not calculate what I'd lost. I just wrote at this year I was this weight, and then
Yep.
this, and then this. And yeah, and then when they read it out, that was a moment of, oh wow, for me on stage. And I think it's on camera as well. My face just goes, what? I didn't ever look at the total amount that I've lost, because I actually don't try not to do that. Even though we fill out the spreadsheet every week and we look at it and we say it, I don't do it overall. Okay, in the last 4 years, I've lost like 5 kilos or 10 kilos. I
Yep.
don't do that. I look at the weekly that we do,
Yep.
but that's about it. I never go back and look long term of how much I've lost, because I don't really care. No, it's the first time in my life as well that I can stand on scales, and if it's gone up, I'm totally fine.
There you go. I was about to
I
ask
just
that.
come
Yeah.
down. I just come down and I'm like, okay, so what did I do differently last week? Where am I at with my like cycle, my life, what happened? All of those little things that you've taught me in the last 4 years are the things that I think about now. And then I look at the food that I've been eating. If I've changed my food groups and types, I kind of like use food now as like a science experiment to my body,
Yeah.
how I respond to it, which I really am getting a bit nerdy and geeky about.
I love that.
But I love it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
lot of weight.
I love the point about the scales, because obviously that's still a big battle today with a lot of
Huge
people.
battle for
Yeah.
everybody I know.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as weight goes up, they freak out. It's, oh my God, what have I done? I've gotten fat. You know, all the common reactions. Whereas, as you've identified, well, hang on a second, let's take a step backwards and let's have a look and see what changed in the week. You know, was it your cycle? Did you get a poor night's sleep? Are you highly stressed at the moment? Did you change your food? That can have a significant impact, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So we've got, obviously, we're prepping. We're 3 weeks in.
2 weeks.
3
2
weeks.
weeks done.
I'm glad you're on top of things.
I'm counting.
Oh dear.
I'm so counting. This is the start of week 3.
Yeah. Okay. That's unreal. But we've had great success to date, right? And
Yeah.
you know, just as I guess as an overarching sort of analogy in relation to getting you ready for this journey, we've obviously worked really hard in a period of time after the transformation show to get your calories nice and high, which you, I think, admitted at one point you didn't think you'd ever eat this much food.
I never thought I'd be eating, it was over 2,000 calories 7 days a week, because we always had my high days and low days leading up, and then post transformation my body was just loving it, and you had me up over 2,000 calories 7 days a week, which was amazing, and then you took it all away, which was a bit mean. That was a shock to the system. That was a shock that last first week.
Yeah, it would have been. But it's fine, right? Like it's not.
And it's amazing how quickly, like the first week of prep, I felt tired, and even though I was like not tired, I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of like meh feeling, and then the second week I was so fine with it. I was used to it, and I think it was more the carbs in the morning before training for me. And then my body's just adjusted to it. And thank God you didn't drop anything this week. So we'll be fine again another week.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you know what? I didn't need to drop it because you've had great results
I
so far.
know.
Like, what are we up to? Nearly 2 kilos, over 2 kilos.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, after 3 weeks is outstanding, and if we can sort of maintain that sort of rate of loss or close to it, we're on a win, which is even more exciting. It just means we're
Yeah.
going to be well and truly ready. And then, we can get on stage and do our best. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I never stopped after transformation, like with the tracking and sticking to
Mm,
what I was supposed to be doing. Obviously, I went out for dinners and meals, but not like constantly. I never do that anyway.
sure.
I don't drink anymore. I have actually lost my taste for alcohol. I
Yeah. Okay.
cannot drink. Like if I
Mm,
have one on a night out, that's huge. I
yep.
can't do it. It doesn't sit well. So yeah, I never actually stopped after transformation with tracking food or anything.
Mm,
Just the only time I didn't track was the 10 days that I was in New Zealand over Christmas, New Year's. It was just wasn't doable. Like
no.
family holiday, we were on road trips. It was just not doable. So yeah, it's
But you
been
know what?
good.
Like using that as an example, given that your calories were at a reasonable level by then, the impact of eating untracked was minimal anyway, because of the fact that you had a reasonable buffer there, right?
Yeah, and I did gain quite a bit of weight actually, but it was all fluid, I think. It was all
Yeah.
fluid retention because by the time I came back to Brisbane and started again, it all dropped off.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't care. Like I told you in my check-ins, like I check in regardless of good or bad.
Mm,
That this is the way it is. Like I didn't even have scales some places that we
yeah.
were at. And my parents, they have a set of scales, but it's so old. I didn't even know what I was
Well,
what I
and
was
that's it. Like the
weighing.
calibration would be so far off. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't even bother. I was like, I'm
Yep.
just going to enjoy these 10 days with my family. And when I go back home, we're back on. So, and I did exactly that.
Yep. 100%. Um, All right. Well, I mean, your story is fascinating. And obviously, you've been doing this now for a long period of time. And where you are now, like we said, compared to where you were at the very beginning, is chalk and cheese. It's two different people.
Yeah.
And you've identified a way of life that is sustainable. You've obviously
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight, which is a bonus. But, you go to the gym multiple times a week. I work with your son now as well, which is
Yeah. Yeah. He
fantastic,
is loving it.
Yeah,
He's
which is
constantly
cool.
flexing for me.
Yeah. So he's
He's
obviously
only doing
embracing it as well.
yeah, he's doing nutrition with you, and it's been so amazing watching him be so dedicated. Like he
Yep.
will, once he's hit his macros, he will not eat anything else. And for a 16-year-old, that's huge.
That's
And
awesome.
I know you've got a lot of teenage clients and they do
Mm,
bodybuilding, and Cass's goal is not bodybuilding at the moment. He
yep.
wanted to do nutrition for his football performance and sport performance that he's really committed to.
Yep.
He's a goalkeeper, so he's constantly training. He goes to the gym every morning with me. Well, we go 5 days a week. Yeah, so he wanted to eat better for performance, and
Yep.
then now he's seeing the physical changes. He's just loving it.
Yeah. How good. And like that's
Yeah.
an interesting case
My
for me
food
too.
bill's gone up though.
I know. I apologize for that. And trust me, he's a teenager. His hormones are running wild, so he's going to be eating more before you know
Yeah,
it too. So yeah, you might want to take a share out in Wheat Bix or something because he'll be eating a
make him
large
pay
portion
for
of
it. He
them.
works in a supermarket. I need to get him to buy his own.
Yeah, absolutely. Get the discount. Take full advantage. We'll wrap it up there, Mina. I want to thank you obviously for not only coming on and chatting, but just being completely transparent with your journey about the surgery, about your weight loss, where you were at any given time. But the fact that you've come so far, and I think it's just a testament to obviously your character, but it now shows that anyone can do it. Like with all due
Definitely.
respect, you're no one special in terms of the community or anything
Not
like
at all.
that. You're just the average person, but you've
Like
done.
I said, I used to go to the gym and just go on a treadmill. Like it's
Yeah.
the training part, you can learn it. The only thing that I would say to anybody wanting to do this is this doesn't happen overnight. Like
Mm,
you have to constantly do the work every single day,
yep.
tick the boxes every single day. The results will come through, and there will be shit weeks that your weight goes up so much, and they're like, why? Like, it's not fair. But those are the times that you don't give up. Um, and one day you don't even care that your weight's gone up.
There you
You're
go.
just like, whatever. I did everything. If
Yeah.
that's my weight this week, it is what it is.
I
But
love
yeah,
that.
just do the work, get addicted to the process rather than the end results is
Mm.
the key.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to give your amazing business a plug? So you're what do they call it? Is it a cosmetic surgery? Is that what it's called?
No, we're a
No?
cosmetic clinic.
Clinic.
So
Okay.
we yeah, I love my team, the team that I work with. The
It looks like
clinic
you
is
have fun.
beautiful. We do. We have a lot of fun. The girls are all so good. So I work at Skin Mass in Clontarf in Brisbane.
Okay.
Um, with a supportive team who, like, they have their fun, they have their food, and they know what I'm doing. There's no, oh my God, why aren't you eating with us?
Sure.
They're actually super supportive, love them to bits. They're like my hype girls at the moment. So they,
How
yeah.
good.
And yeah. So Skin Mass and Clontarf, love them. And I'm so happy. What I do, I mean, cosmetic clinic, it's everyone's like, oh, it's so vain. It's not. Honestly, biggest part of my job that I love is you do little tweaks to people, women's faces mostly. We do have men as well.
Hmm.
Hint, hint. To women's faces. Like you can just do the tiniest little tweak and they tear up because they look at themselves and they love it.
Yeah, right.
And I love that. And if my story doing this podcast, like, makes one person change something about their life and feel better about themselves, then I've done my job.
100%.
I don't know why that's my mission at the moment, but I just love helping people. And I guess it's the whole nursing background as
Of
well.
course, yeah.
But yeah, no, I love my job. It's beautiful. It's such rewarding job. And it is nursing, it is medical, it is not beauty therapy.
Fair
Which some
enough.
people think it is.
Fair enough. All right, and then finally, let's hit you with the personality question. So, who would you have over for dinner? Who would you invite
I
for
had to
dinner?
think about this a lot. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with David Goggins.
Hey, okay, cool.
That book that he wrote, Can't Hurt Me, I
Mm,
think I listened to that 5 or 6 times,
wow.
and I listened to that when I was feeling my absolute lowest.
Mm,
I have it on audio, and I listened to it so many times, and his story is just amazing, and if
mm,
anyone hasn't listened to it, if you think your life's shit, go and listen to his story.
yep.
It is an amazing book, love it. I would love to meet him. He's just a don't mess kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay hard.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
yeah. I do appreciate his story and the fact that he just has a no bullshit life now.
Oh,
There's
it's
nothing
just
he can't
great.
do, and
No,
it's all up here. Yeah.
that's exactly right. And I think that's him just talking about the mental game of like what he's been through and
Mm.
what he's achieved in life. It's like our lives aren't that
It's
bad.
perspective,
It's not
right?
that hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. How good. Excellent. Oh, well, that'll be a very interesting dinner conversation then for sure.
yeah.
All right, Mina.
I
Well, we'll wrap
wish.
it up there, but thank you once again. We'll
Thank
obviously.
you so much for inviting me on your podcast.
Oh, no problem. We've been talking back and forth for ages to get it to
Yeah,
line up,
we
and
finally did it.
I'm glad that we did it. This will drop on Monday, so today is Monday, so next Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, working with you for 4 years has been a pleasure. But yeah, having a chat and getting a bit of more insight into your story. Like you said, I hope that some people do listen to this are inspired to make some changes. It doesn't happen overnight, as you said. Show patience and all those things, but you're a testament to the values that you've upheld that entire time. And now you're only several months away from getting on stage and competing in a bikini contest. Not bad. Way to go, right?
Hiding. Never thought me and bikini will go in the same line, but here we go. We'll see
Hey,
what happens.
see what happens. Exactly.
Yeah.
How good.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem at all. Thank you, Mina.